Whoa, I've messed up. I knocked down my screen here, and I've got like a green screen going. Whoa, I'm tweaking out, bro.
That's a little trippy.
Yeah, it is. I don't know how to turn this off.
I don't know. It's
Leave this
messing you
on.
up. Though.
This is fun.
Surprise! Welcome to the stream, everybody.
Yeah, man, that was good. As soon as I was doing that, my camera fell off, and then I don't have control over this. I don't know how to get this off of here.
So the Falcons.
Oh, there it is.
Julio Jones, and the whole world goes crazy. Here we go. Hey-o.
Hey, I'm in it now. Okay, cool.
Back.
So here we go. We are
Well,
actually streaming. Yeah, that was a good way to start things off, man, for sure. Cool. We never claimed to be professionals.
No. But for anybody watching us and smoking the devil's lettuce, I'll bet that was a trip.
Dude, no joke. They were like, "Oh man, what did I do?
I'm on the wrong channel."
Okay, so good news is I ran some tests and I worked with the streaming company that we use here, and they have run some tests, messed with some stuff. So hopefully we don't get too much of a video lag on my end. So
that'd be nice.
No promises. So we'll see. This might be our first one in a while without a lag, which would be really nice.
It'd be a nice little update, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, it was just not working quite correctly. So I ran some tests with them and worked with them, and we'll see where we're at. So
Tony's in the chat.
We'll see. Sweet. What's up, Tony? So far, so good. Yeah, it's been real smooth. Yeah, for sure. So, okay. So point of the stream is, well, we're going to cover what everyone else covered, the Julio Jones trade, except we're going to cover it a little bit different because that's not really our content, just analyzing that. Everyone has the exact analysis pretty much, give or take a little bit, which we'll cover here. But yeah, it's not like everyone else. We actually want to talk about how this affects our teams directly. And honestly, in one league, our Roll Tide league, it affects both of our teams kind of in their mind for sure. So that's our 2-player keeper league in there. So I'll go ahead and pull that up so we can take a look at that.
Yeah,
I mean this one.
If y'all were on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, your mom's scrapbook, any of that yesterday, every post was about, oh my goodness, Julio Jones to the Titans. This affects this person this way, this person this way. And
yeah, it's still going on today, man. That's
like, I saw some today too, and it's like, that's all well and good, but they all literally say the exact same thing. Use a slightly different picture, maybe a nice little font, but it's basically the exact same information. So we're going to tackle this a little bit differently. And I know Tony hopped on here. He was wanting to chat a little bit about A.J. Brown, but maybe we'll kind of cover what he was wondering about when we go over my team here in a second.
Cool.
But let's hop on yours first because you have the most effect.
Yeah, so let's see how this affects me really quick. Let me hop over to my team. And so my keeper options, I've talked about them before. I have a lot of keeper options here. Aaron Jones, Derrick Henry, Devontae Adams, Calvin Ridley, Travis Kelce, Austin Eckler. Honestly,
you're a hacker. I mean, that's all there is to it.
Yeah. Honestly, Calvin Ridley wasn't on my list. I had it down between Henry, Adams, and Kelce. I'm pretty sure. Also, we should throw in here the wrinkle that it looks like people are wanting to move this. I say people. Our league members are wanting to change this from a half PPR to a full PPR league. Not super stoked about that, but it does change things a little bit.
It's still at 5-3 for full PPR. So there's two people that haven't voted yet, and we need a majority.
Yeah. So if we get one more 4, it could change. So that changes things a little bit. I mean,
I could go change my vote and just get it out of the way.
Yeah, I'm sticking with mine. Anyways, so I had it down to Kelce, Henry, Adams, essentially, and then I was kind of leaning Adams Kelsey, because if we move to full PPR, I think that's a pretty solid move.
It's
But
2 keepers, Tony. 2
yeah,
keepers,
two
and
keepers.
there's no like pick penalty for whoever you keep. Like, we just keep whoever you want, and then there's just full draft the next year. Like, there's no benefit to keeping someone you drafted in a later round or nothing like that.
Right. I was mentioning those 3 just because those are the 3 I had it narrowed down to. So there's only 2 keepers. Those are the 3 I had it narrowed down to. I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to do. And no, there's no limit on the amount of years you can keep them. So this is major homer league. You can keep a player as long as you want. So, okay. So in saying all of that, that trade for Julio it switched things around for me. If I'm being honest, I'm looking at this. I'm looking at Calvin Ridley, who's the de facto number 1 wide receiver in that offense, who already got a lot of targets with Julio, and then without Julio last year, got even more. I know they have Pitts coming in, okay, and then they have Gage in there. I mean, if anything, Pitts demands a little bit of attention, so maybe it opens up Ridley a little bit. I mean, he's the de facto number 1. There's nothing else to say there, I feel like.
You're basically replacing Julio with Pitts in that offense now. I mean, they play a little bit. They play differently, obviously,
right,
in different positions, but you're going from 2 stud pass catchers to 2 stud pass catchers.
right.
So,
yeah, it's not going to hurt him, but he's obviously still the only stud. When I say the only stud, Gage is pretty good, but he's not a stud. He's the de facto number 1 wide receiver there.
Absolutely.
And he's going to get force-fed targets.
Yeah.
So Adams makes me nervous just because I don't know what his quarterback situation. I don't know what it's going to be like this year, but then beyond that, even worse. I mean, we may get 1 year out of Aaron Rodgers there, and then
I was gonna say, I think it's looking more and more. The closer to the season we get, the higher the odds are that Rodgers stays.
Yeah. So I feel like that makes Adams strong this year, but in the long run, no.
Yeah, like I was reading an article earlier that I agreed with that said, there's absolutely no incentive. Now, Rodgers could sit out, but there's no incentive for the team to trade him now after the NFL draft.
Right.
Like, if they were going to do it, they should have leveraged him on draft day and try to get some picks.
Move up in the draft, yeah.
Stuff like that, when they could have had a shot doing that at one of the young, good quarterbacks in this year's draft.
No, totally agree. Oh, what's up, Seven? How's it going, man? Hop over on YouTube and get in the chat there and see some screens. Talk to Kyle, man. Thanks for hopping on. Yeah. So I think we're gonna have pre-draft. I agree. Do what, Kyle?
I was gonna say so basically what I'm saying there is, I think we're gonna have Rodgers for this year, but beyond that, it's not looking good.
Yeah, I agree. So that makes Adams. I mean, that's a 1 year thing that I don't know. I'm not into that for the keeper. I feel like Aaron
I'd like
Jones
to think just a little bit longer ahead.
Aaron Jones also takes a hit there.
I think so too.
So here's my thing with this.
I think he takes more of a hit than Adams does if Rodgers leaves.
I would agree with that. I think Adams would get force fed. I just feel like they wouldn't have to respect the pass as much, and Aaron Jones would struggle more. Yeah. So, and Christopher agrees there. Seven does. He says, I agree. If they were going to move him, it should have been pre-draft. Yeah. So totally agree with that. So I went from Kelsey. What did I say? I was down to Henry, Adams, Kelsey. And after yesterday's trade, now I'm actually looking at Henry, Ridley, Kelsey, I feel like. And I was actually considering, because I said I had kind of narrowed down. I think I was leaning Adams, Kelsey, going PPR. Mm-hmm. But after the trade yesterday, 2 players were affected by it, in my opinion, that I really think boosted them so extreme with Derrick Henry and Calvin Ridley. Those are my top 2 right now, I feel like.
Henry and Ridley?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, because I think Ridley hops up there. I mean, he's going to be a very high top wide receiver now, all of a sudden.
Uh-huh.
And then Derrick Henry, for me, here's how I see it. Derrick Henry's not going to have stacked box ever. He was already dangerous AF. And now, okay, so he might get a couple less carries, which is good to prolong his career because everyone said he got too many carries anyways.
He's still going to get lots of volume, though.
In PPR, he's not catching any balls, but in PPR, he was still the number 3 running back, number 1 in standard, number 3 here. I mean, that's 2 higher than Aaron Jones, which Aaron Jones missed 2 games, but it's still, I mean, he still puts up points in PPR just because he scores so many touchdowns. He gets long runs. They just feed him the ball, man. So I'm not one of those like Derrick Henry isn't worth that much in PPR. That's not me, man. I think Derrick Henry scores points and scores touchdowns. Touchdown opportunities are huge. And I know you and I had kind of touched on this yesterday, Kyle, when you and I were talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
Goal line situation. I mean, Henry's going to eat. I mean, you have to respect
double fade
Julio
routes.
Jones on one side, AJ Brown on the other, on those fades or slants. Yeah. Okay, exactly. Well, now Derrick Henry's right up the middle. Kind of got to worry about Tannehill a little bit there too. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, Derrick Henry, I think his goal line situation becomes even better, which I wouldn't think that was even possible, but I feel like it happened. So I feel like the touchdown opportunity there, I mean, yeah, they're probably going to throw a little bit more there too, but man, I just feel like the opportunity is there.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people, like you were saying, would say, you know, Henry isn't worth that much as much in the PPR or whatever, but him and Chubb are kind of they're such elite, just pure rushers that it's okay that they don't necessarily catch any balls, you know. So I have no problem with, like, I think Henry should be, you know, top 5 guy in everything except maybe Dynasty this year.
Yes. And that's just because of his age. I mean, he's 26, but people are just worried he's being used too much. But again,
he's a little bit older, but yeah, the workload.
But this also kills that a little, like I kind of touched on there. It kills that argument a little bit too, because okay, so maybe he gets a little bit less workload. So does that prolong it where everyone is like, oh, he's going to wear down in 2 years, you know, he's going to be done because they're using him so much.
I don't think taking, you know, 3 or 4 carries a game away for more passing plays is going to prolong his career like a whole year.
Yeah.
You know, I still think you're going to see another, like, maybe 2 more years, and then he's going to hit a pretty significant wall, I think, still.
If Henry's 27, then this is just wrong.
He'll be 27 when the season starts, I think.
Yeah. He's 26 right now. But, yeah, I think he'll be 27 during season. Yeah, I think you're right there.
But I agree. Like, and anybody who watches our channel knows that we love our tight ends. We love our Kelsey. We love our Kittle and stuff. But, you know, with the situation that's happened now, I don't see how you don't keep Henry and Ridley out of that group.
Derrick Henry is 27 years old.
So that's just wrong then.
Yeah.
January, yeah.
94.
Wow, so Sleeper is messed up.
The Tony apparently either is like a super fan or Googled it.
Tony is a Google master. He can literally find an article to support any opinion he has to send to you during trade negotiations.
I think we're being real-time fact-checked.
Is it Tony, are you a Facebook fact checker too? Because I think you're just trying to prove us wrong at this point.
We're going to get kicked off these platforms for having wrong ages on here. So anyways, okay, so he's 27.
Like Rain Man.
5 years experience, which now I don't even know if that's right. Now I'm questioning everything on here. But either way, I think
Nothing's
you're right. I
right.
don't think that extends him a full year, but the dude's not human. I mean, let's look at Adrian Peterson has lasted forever with multiple surgeries and stuff. What if Derrick Henry also lasts forever? What if Frank Gore lasts forever? I mean, geez, oh Pete.
Some do.
I mean,
But just because he's lasted forever, Peterson's been around for ages, but he hasn't been effective for years, really.
right.
Frank Gore the same way, you know, like
Frank Gore
yeah,
was effective into pretty late into his
they could
career, though,
stick
I feel
around
like.
and play, but they're not the studs they once were.
Yeah, but Derrick Henry is on a whole nother level than like a Frank Gore for sure.
Oh, I agree. No, I was.
Um,
You used the example. I was just going back to
I
it.
think 2 to 3 years. It doesn't. I mean, either way, I think that's long enough in this keeper league. I'm not worried about
I
it.
think, and we'll touch on this with
Not a dynasty.
with my keepers here in a minute too. But like, I think you have to keep Henry not only based on his value, but based on the fact that everybody in this league values running backs so high.
Yeah.
And everybody tackles running backs early, often, and keeps them if they got them.
Yep. Yeah, they're very scarce in here, I think. Tony says, I love Henry in your keeper. Vrabel. I don't know how to say his name. Yeah, committed to run. He's going to get fed the football with 2 stud wide receivers. Worry about in 2 or 3 years. Yep, exactly. I think same thing. Now this year I struggle.
Ride the wave while you can. It's the same thing I did with Gurley. Ride it until you see the signs and then ship him.
My big issue that I'm running into this year is I don't have a first or second round pick in this draft, so I'm not going to be able to draft another keeper worthy player. But what is good then,
but you'll be able to trade for some later,
is that this year's not. Maybe I'm probably not going to be super competitive this year because I sold the farm to win this last season. So I don't have that first, second round pick, but I'll be able to trade for someone for that next season or pick someone up that next year. So Henry is going to last me through that rebuild, if you
but
will.
I said the same thing last year and I still ended up third. So you never say never.
Well, if Ridley and Henry just blow up for me, then I'll take it.
Honestly, like Henry's a no-brainer. For me, it comes down to Ridley or Kelsey. And I don't think there's a wrong decision. But like as far as for you personally keeping one or the other, I think either one would be a good keeper. I think where the tiebreaker comes down maybe is strategy. Maybe don't let somebody else grab Ridley. You know what I mean? Just keep Ridley so nobody else can freaking have him.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm going for. I have him in multiple dynasty leagues too. So I'd like to have him. I like having players like that across.
Yeah, me and you are the same that way.
Yeah, not all of my leagues, because if then he gets hurt, I don't want him to screw me over in all my leagues. But this would be my third league to have him in so far, I think. Only third. But I think I don't know, man. I think I'm just down to Henry and Ridley. Honestly, I think I can trade Kelsey to Austin as a keeper,
which I think would be very smart.
And so if I can get that, then I think that makes up my mind for me.
Yeah.
Whereas before I was really set on keeping Kelsey as my keeper, and now I'm wavering on it. I'm still not 100%. Might come down to a coin flip. Might come down to a preseason injury. I don't really know. Honestly, I
really think you'll be able to trade Kelsey. And then
I think you're right.
Henry and Ridley. Because I mean, Austin, big Kansas City fan. He already has Hill. I know he doesn't have any problem keeping Kelsey and Hill together.
Yeah. His other keeper option is DeAndre Swift, and honestly, I would keep Kelsey over Swift 10 times out of 10. So I think it's a way better keeper option, especially in a PPR.
I agree.
Yeah, I think the value there is very high. You want to look at your team real quick?
Yeah, let's switch over there for a minute.
This is the best I can bring it up. Sorry.
No, you're good. That's how I was looking at yours on my screen. There you go. And see, it's kind of the same deal over here. I've got Kittle, whereas you had Kelsey. Yeah. And it's like we love our tight ends, but in a 2-keeper, it just doesn't work out. And as everybody can see, just like in Redux, I have McCaffrey and Akers.
Mm-hmm.
That trade where it could affect my team is the fact that I have AJ Brown.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the trade for Julio boosts Brown a little bit to help kind of take some of the attention away, and we've talked about that,
Yeah.
But for me, and it goes back to the same reason we were talking about, you keeping Henry. It has to, with the way this league likes running backs, the players in this league love running backs. Like, it's hard to let any good ones go. And so for me, it doesn't boost AJ Brown enough for him to keep over McCaffrey or Akers.
Right.
If it was a dynasty league, I'd keep him over Akers.
Right.
But being
I would agree.
But being a keeper league and being with this group of guys and the way they attack running backs, I got to keep McCaffrey and Akers still.
Yeah, I also think that AJ Brown gets a boost here. Targets are going to be targets. There's multiple wide receivers on every team, but
there is. And you think about Jonnu Smith's targets are still up for grabs. You got other receivers that were receiving, targets last year besides AJ Brown. All of those will just get funneled to Julio. AJ Brown might even grab a couple extras because he's wide open.
yeah.
It just,
yeah, I don't think that hurts him one bit. I know I've covered it multiple videos. I'm a firm believer in 2 really good wide receivers only helps those wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
So Tony says AJ Brown will be a top 3 wide receiver for the next 7 to 8 years. He's only 23. It depends. It depends
I'll
on
give
who
him
else
5
comes
for
in
sure.
below him.
I don't know about top 3. A lot depends on that.
That's a long time to hold that top spot, and rarely does that happen. So, vacated targets. I'm kind of the same way where vacated targets, I don't really super account for that. I'm not one to be like, oh, this dude left, and so now this guy's gonna come in and take all of those or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
but those targets are gonna go to whoever's open. That's
right.
That's where it's gonna go, and the play call and the.
But that's what I was
covering,
saying. It's not. They're not gonna have to take targets away from AJ to feed Julio. Was my point.
I mean, targets differ upon if you're winning a game by 3 touchdowns in the third quarter. I mean, it's not, targets differ every game, every year, every quarter. Like it's not going to be the same every year. So vacated targets is a little tough. Not really a stat that I actually take into account personally, but now
I was just making the point that they're not going to have to take targets away from AJ. Feed.
I was talking about Tony's comment.
Oh, I know, but
yeah,
I feel like Tony's making the same point I was.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they're going to throw to somebody, but again, who knows? Maybe Henry gets more carries this year because they're winning more games early because they're throwing the ball and scoring a bunch of touchdowns. Like everything changes, situations change.
Yeah, it's all situational.
Everyone's talking up Ferkser. Now this hurts Ferkser for those people who have been going after him and talking big on him.
Yeah.
But everyone's talking him up like they're going to throw him the ball more too. So, if they're throwing him the ball, well, now that hurts everyone too, and taken into account. And then, so it's all situational. It depends on the defensive game plan that people come in with. It's just, anyways, that's my opinion on vacated targets. So,
and what Tony was saying about top 3 for the next 7-8 years, and all this stuff, like I get it. He is special. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that go into that, because if some freak of nature comes out and bumps him to 4, okay, boom, he's not top 3. You know what I mean? So he's a top 10 talent for the next decade. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing that at all.
I think a good example is Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley came in lower on the totem pole, didn't do really good, then all of a sudden blew up, and now all of a sudden he's going to be a top 5 wide receiver.
Mhm.
Like, okay, that happened within about a 2-year span. It changed really quick. And will he stay there? I don't know. Depends on, Matt Ryan's getting old, so when he leaves, is it going to last 7 years? God, I doubt it, but take it while I can.
Yeah, exactly.
So looking here, they're talking about AJ Brown and having surgery on both of his knees. Granted, that was like 5 months ago.
I've not seen anybody that's worried about it, though.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that. I don't think anyone is worried about it or anything, because how your knees work, right, is it's like this. Right? So should have brought the doctor on to give us this explanation.
We need Smitty on here so he can give us the visual.
Sorry, I had to do it. I had to make the reference talking about knees, but I haven't heard anyone worried about AJ Brown's knees at all. So I think that's fine. I think that's a non-thing. I think if I remember right, Tony is pretty high on AJ Brown, so he's obviously done his research. He's not worried about it either. So if Tony were worried about it, I might be worried about it. Tony's not worried about it. I'm not worried about it.
Tony's the research master. He always has been. Whereas I tend to go more with my gut.
Yeah. Well, you got plenty of that to go off of. So.
Lots of gut. Yeah, I got plenty of gut to go with. So, Tony, you're right. Like, a case can be made for any player that things change. But that's also a reason why I've never been real big into analytics, because analytics can tell you whatever story you want it to tell you.
Yeah.
You can twist numbers and analytics to tell any story you want to. So
yeah, there's actually books about that, actually.
I think there used to be a show on ESPN about it called Numbers Never Lie or something like that.
Yeah, it's like how to manipulate numbers essentially to make an argument and stuff.
You totally can. I've done it. In trades and stuff. I've totally done it.
Absolutely. It's easy to do. Cool. So that doesn't actually mess with your situation much then. It
really doesn't affect mine. Like,
you're set.
But just talking about kind of how it affects AJ in general. But for me, like in this particular league, it doesn't boost him enough for me to keep him over Akers.
Now you're not keeping Mike Davis over Akers?
I don't know, man. Those quads.
You're right. I'm telling you, they block for themselves.
Quadzilla, man. Jesus.
Cool. So it didn't really change you. For me, it actually flipped me where I was leaning Kelsey Adams, and now I'm at Henry Ridley. Literally, both players were affected by the trade yesterday, and I think it boosted them high enough to be my 2 keepers now.
Yeah, I agree. I
With
like
Kelsey a close third, still in the running, actually. So,
yeah, I agree with that decision, and I really don't think once you get Austin to reply, you'll have any problem trading him, Kelsey.
Yeah, we'll make some sort of deal for sure.
Tony, there was somebody else that you had mentioned to me, texted me the other night, that you disagreed with something we said in another stream. What was? I forget what it was now. Do you remember?
You ain't gonna hurt our feelings. Nah, maybe not.
That won't happen.
Oh, in tears we do a stream. Tell us right about Brown. Okay.
That won't happen.
Because we won't remember. Anyways, so.
Because I never said he couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Oh, said situation. Yeah, what did we say about Pitts that you disagreed with? I remembered you saying no. Oh, with your take on you taking Pitts. Yeah, like, it was a little early for me, but get your guy. I think that's pretty much what we said before, right?
Yeah.
Always too early for me. I think it was too early, but I also can't argue if you like somebody, grab them. And honestly, what was too early then looks a whole lot more normal now. Yeah, but Kittle's proven it in the league.
Kyle, say the question out loud. People aren't necessarily. So Tony said you took Kittle at top of 2. That's what Kyle's responding to.
Kittle at top of 2. Well, yeah, Kittle's proven it in the league. I mean, this kid's a genetic freak, but he's still a rookie that hadn't played in the NFL yet.
Yep. Yeah,
So,
I have a hard time trusting rookies that high. Like Najee Harris, yeah, he could be a 100% stud, but I still like taking him first round like I've seen in some of these dynasty drafts we've been in. I just can't do it. There's no way. I can't even really take him second round. I think I took him late in the second in ours or something like that. Like it was
yeah.
long. So
And
yeah,
like Tony said, we took the Kelsey and Kittle real early.
Yep.
So I understand why you had to take him earlier because of
it forced it too.
What we kind of created with that. We were just saying kind of in general, third round's too early for Pitts. But
I mean, I don't think he's a potential number 1, 2 tight end for the next 8 to 10 years. I mean, I think he's going to have to wait his turn to be there because you have kind of the top 3 right now. He may jump him. He may not. I mean, he may not overcome those top 3. He may be number 4 in the league for a little bit. So he has that potential.
And they may merry-go-round.
It's just a guess and a potential. They
may merry-go-round in that top 4 for the next decade. Well, Kelsey will retire before that, but you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to say.
Yeah, it really is.
Athletes that come out.
I honestly, I don't
think looking 8 to 10 years out is too far for me. You made the same kind of statement about A.J. Brown, like, 8 to 10 years, he's going to be a top 3. It's hard to project that far out for me. But, I mean, yeah, he's going to be a beast. There's no doubt about that. I wouldn't have taken him that early. That's all we were saying.
Yeah, I agree. Well, who's to say that? So he said Kelsey's 31 and Kittle can't stay healthy. But honestly, I mean, Kittle, who knows? Maybe Pitts comes in and gets hurt, and now he's also injury prone. We don't know. We don't know how he's going to do. Maybe he gets a couple concussions and retires in 2 years. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen.
I think Kittle's injuries have been a little fluky also. Like, you look at Frank Gore, everybody used to call him injury prone the first few years of his career, and then he hadn't missed a game in I don't even know how long.
Yep.
So, Kittle's had a few years with some bad injury luck, but that could completely turn around. You never know. Injuries are completely unpredictable.
Yeah.
Not fading because he might get hurt playing hard, I mean,
that's kind of what people are doing with Derrick Henry right now.
Uh-huh.
So you're getting him at a little bit of a value because people are kind of guessing. Yeah. So I'm going to go back up here. Derryberry is on here. He said, who would be comparable to Pitts in the past? Eek.
Like, who would I compare him to, like, playing style-wise?
That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah, Tony, I agree. Some have a better injury history than others. Honestly, Kittle just plays so damn reckless he gets hurt. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily a great thing.
Yeah, I can't think of, like, anybody to compare Pitts to.
Pitts is dang near a receiver, man.
He's basically a wide receiver. You can't compare him to a tight end at this point.
Yeah, can I compare him to LeBron James? I don't know. Like, he's he's practically a wide receiver playing tight end, and I can't tell you the last time, like, one that was that athletic this early. Like, everyone knew coming in that was the role he was going to play.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's becoming more common now, but this is the most hype on a tight end I've heard in ever. I don't like coming out of college.
Since I've been watching the draft and stuff. Oh, he's way better. He'll be way better than Vernon Davis.
Yeah, I agree. He'll be way better than Vernon Davis. Vernon Davis was good though. Like, let's not get that wrong. But I don't know, man. I'm not good at comparisons like that, if I'm being honest. I don't analyze film enough, anything like that. So I have a hard time with comparison. My best thing is, like, how do they compare up in actual, like, fantasy football? Not really like actual person in real life. So I'm not good at that type of thing. Derryberry is actually, though. He has a long history of good comparisons, I feel like.
I'm sitting here, I'm looking at Tony's team in Redux, and I know he likes his A.J. Brown and Pitts, but I mean, he's still going to lose to us regardless. So just don't. I don't know how to break that to you, Tony.
So, yeah, I've heard others compare him to Waller. Yes, I heard that, and I'm also kind of thinking kind of the same. That's the closest I can think of someone just being athletic like that. So, I agree.
Oh, quick sidebar here for Tony. You remember back in the day when we were in that very first Dynasty League, you had that picture where that guy was like wearing that fishing hat, and everybody thought it was a picture of you. You should totally put that as your picture in Redux.
So people think it's him.
The throwback, man, the throwback
Redux
picture.
it.
That was so hilarious because he used that picture and like it wasn't him, it was some random guy. But everybody thought it was him.
That's funny.
I thought it was him until he told me it wasn't.
Well, yeah, I mean, how else were you going to know, right?
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, he likes to go fishing or something. I don't know.
That's funny.
It was funny.
I'm actually going to test something really quick. While we're on here, I'm going to waste people's time. Kyle, you keep going right there talking. I'm going to mute my mic and actually look at a few things really quick.
All right. Yeah, Tony, he did look like he could be a Tony Dominguez. It was really funny. I don't know what Corey's playing with here, but we are okay. So let's take a look. Tony, let's take a look at your team. Is there anybody else you want to talk about while he's fiddling with stuff? Your team looks pretty good, man. I mean, you did draft the first kicker. Just throwing that out there. Gibson. Okay. I like Gibson a lot, actually. I have noticed, though, like in some of the, like we had one dynasty draft where Gibson went in the first round. I like Gibson a lot, but that's too early. You took him. You took him in the second round, yeah? Let's see. Where did you take him? You took him in the fourth round? What? Okay, yeah, you stole him. Somebody called 911. There's been a robbery. All right, let's talk IDP then. You want to talk IDP? Dude, I am so out of touch with IDP. I was a little nervous going into this draft with IDP, actually, because I haven't done it in, quite some time. Haven't done it in quite some time. So we set it up. We set the rosters up where it kind of...
Kyle, do you need to share your screen?
No, not necessarily. We're just kind of chatting.
Cool.
Quick point. Drop off is large at the top. For IDP? Or you still talk about running backs? Sorry. I kind of bounced from one to the other real quick. Oh, yeah, IDP. After the top guys, the drop is similar to offensive skill positions. I agree. Because if you look at IDP and the way they score, linebackers are similar to your running backs. DBs are receivers. D-line are tight ends. And you're right. It's a lot more top-heavy. So basically, if you don't get, like, D-line, there's about 2 or 3 guys. DBs, there's about 4 or 5. And then linebackers, there's maybe 8 to 10 that are just real standout. After that, they're the same for the next 30.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree. The key to IDP is securing the top 3 to 5 players at a specific position. I agree. Now, the key to IDP, if you don't feel like pulling the trigger early enough to get one of those top 3 to 5, like I didn't feel comfortable pulling the trigger on IDP that early. There was too much offensive, because I feel like offense is more important. IDP, I feel like there's more new IDP that kind of moves up the ranks every year, and it's a little easier to replace. Let's see, what do you say? Easier to locate startable talent in season, but not at the elite level. I totally agree. On IDP, I totally agree. You can go find a linebacker or a DB on waivers to plug in for a week, especially if you kind of know how to play the matchups there. So, like, I picked some guys I feel like were kind of right on that verge. We'll just talk about my linebackers. So they were kind of right on that verge of the top guys, but they weren't the top guys. So if I need a backup, though, I can go grab somebody. So say I go grab a older, not so good, middle linebacker that nobody rostered. Well, if he's playing a run-heavy team, okay, I can plug him in and get some good points for the week.
Yeah.
And a DB the same way. If I go grab a corner or a safety that's playing a pass-heavy team that week, I could probably get some good points. So I feel like it's too easy to find a replacement and find points with late round and waiver IDP players than it is with offense. It rotates, it recycles and rotates, turns over. That's the word I was looking for. It turns over more frequently than offense does, I feel like, at the top. No, I agree. You won't find those guys, not on a season-long basis, but you might find one that'll score like that in 1 week if you need a buy cover.
Just like plugging in a backup running back
Mhm.
or something. I mean,
Yeah. I'd rather have elite offense that I can leave in every week, and then I can play matchups with my IDP. That's why I drafted, we play 2 linebackers. I drafted 4. So I picked the 2 that have the best matchups for linebackers and play them. And I'm going to get the same 20 points as your top guy playing a pass-heavy offense. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, we
I know you've researched it extensively. You research everything extensively. I'm just telling you.
Experience-wise.
For me, like, when I do play IDP, this is how I play, and it's always pretty much worked, Every once in a while you'll have a clunker, but every once in a while those top 5 studs have a clunker too.
Yeah, I mean, I've researched stuff, I've looked at stuff, and I listen to those guys talk, and then I'm like, that's not been my experience at all. Yes, again, that sounds correct, but from my experience, yeah, you can plug and play people at linebacker and be fine. Because again, those stud linebackers do have clunkers. Trust me, I've had them happen. Both of my stud linebackers in the same week. There's been, I mean, I've had rankings wise, studs wise, I've had 3 of the top 5 on my team on multiple occasions and still couldn't get. They were getting outscored by other people's kind of crud ones, just depending on, the right weeks and stuff. So, yeah. Yeah, Tony, remember Jason Bolts is your farm team, I believe, if I remember correctly. Maybe Kyle gets the players, you get all his picks. I think that's how.
I'm trying to turn his son Sean into my farm team.
Yeah, I think the agreement is Kyle gets all the players, Tony gets all the picks. Pretty sure that's right. Yeah, no, Daniel, you're completely right. You can plug and play at all positions if you get him good matchup. If you get matchups, yeah. No, I completely agree. That's why, like, that flex position, you can usually find a pretty decent flex to pop in there or something if you do it right. Yeah.
But so Tony, I drafted, Queen and Devin Bush were my 2. That's kind of a funny pair of names, isn't it, for my linebackers, Queen and Bush? Anyways, so I don't feel like the drop off from your Devin White to one of those 2 guys is necessarily that significant. But that's just me, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I think they got just as good a chance to score 20 points as your guy does.
Yeah. I mean, every week's different. Again, I mean, Guess we'll see.
Yeah.
The numbers won't lie when the season comes.
Tony always likes his guys better than everybody else.
That's true. Yeah.
He'd be sitting over there with the last linebacker on the entire in the entire waivers thing, and he'd be like, "Oh, this guy's going to score 80 points a week. You watch."
And I'm not going to trade him for anything less than Calvin Ridley and Travis Kelce in a package together.
I wish I could still remember that Des Bryant deal that we did, Tony. That thing was insanity. Do you remember that? We did that in whatever that last dynasty was that we did.
I remember
that was
trading
gross.
for Des Bryant. That was
it's like half my roster and every pick for the next 2 years for Des and a bunch of bench garbage. Like, and I'm pretty sure I still finished higher than you that year. You do, Tony. You have strong convictions of your players, and I get it. Everybody likes the guys that they draft. I get it.
Yeah, no, that's a common thing. Everyone thinks the highest of the players that they draft. That's why trades are so difficult, especially preseason. Trades are so difficult is because everyone tends to overvalue their players. I've had a hard time trading for some people's bench players in this offseason because I'll send them like, oh, I like this person on your bench, and they're like, cool, like, and they'll literally ask about like Travis Kelce for those two bench players, and I'm like, what? Like they're on your bench. That's how good these players are, and you're wanting to trade them for Kelce. Like, it's just ridiculous. People overvalue their players preseason for sure. That's why you have to kind of, unfortunately, you have to wait until season where, you know, there's injuries or people actually aren't producing like people thought, because there's so much preseason hype with so many players. I mean,
yeah,
it's just that's like, for instance, Hawkinson probably brings a lot of trade right now, a lot of trade value, and in season, I'm sorry, I'm just not a big believer that he's all of a sudden going to take this huge leap and be a top 3 tight end all of a sudden and stuff. Like, I'm not buying all that hype. Good for him if he proves me wrong. I mean, who am I? Who cares about my opinion, right? But
we're not going to be right about everybody.
Yeah, you can't be right about everyone, but I'm just not on that hype train. But right now, people are going to trade him at way too high of a value, and because that they just like that they got him, they're hearing the hype, and I'm just not about that. So
yeah. 2 things. First thing, Tony, that was not a fair deal, but I knew it wasn't, so I was okay with it. I just wanted him no matter what.
Yeah, I remember that actually, because I remember you telling me like, this is going to be stupid. I know I'm losing on this one, but I want him. So
I knew I was getting railroaded, and I didn't care because I wanted Dez.
Well, that's like Fletch in our Roll Tide this year. That's how I got Ridley, and who else did I get from him? Kyler Murray and stuff, because I had Zeke. He was a big thing. He knew I was taking advantage of him. He knew it. He was out of the running for the playoffs and stuff. And he's just like, I want Zeke as a keeper. So sure, I'll trade you a couple players for him. So
yeah. And second point I wanted to make was, you know, Tony's saying I have strong opinions. That everybody that's what makes fantasy football so much fun. Everybody has a different strategy. Everybody has different opinions of every player.
Yep.
And that's what makes it so much fun, is that it's, okay, let's try this strategy versus your strategy. He says, I highly value other players too, but when I draft, it's like putting a puzzle together. If I move one piece, it has too great an impact on my overall plan. Well, yeah, and then you have our draft where, you know, you had no idea what your plan was in the second round because everything was screwed up.
How's it going, man? Yeah, I actually disagree with that. There's no way you can plan a draft that accordingly and have it go to plan. There's absolutely no way. So I'm actually going to kind of call BS on that, because drafts, literally you have to be able to go with the flow, because again, a lot of players didn't expect us to maybe take Kelce Kittle right there at the first turn. And so now people have to maybe change their strategy to step up and get the players that they want, or get a tight end before they're left out.
Like Pitts,
you have to be able to think. There's no way Sean thought that Dalvin Cook was dropping to him at the 9th overall pick. There's no way.
Yeah.
So, there can be a general strategy, but
if your general strategy is to draft IDP early and often just to get top guys, then by all means go for it. But
it's just that I planned on getting Kelce at that 110. But then when Cook was sitting there at 1.9, I didn't know if he was going to get taken. that would have switched my entire strategy for the entire draft from then on. So, and I would have had to think on my feet. Luckily, it was a slow draft, so I would have had time to think about it. But so you can go in with the general strategy, but usually it's going to get thrown off. I mean, there's not many drafts where my strategy doesn't get thrown off because someone makes some weird move.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I planned on taking a tight end early, a top tight end. Had I not taken that, I would have had to wait and take like a Tanyan or something. I probably would have waited till like the 10th round plus to take my first tight end. It would have taken my entire strategy apart. But no, like, you remove one player from my final roster and the puzzle doesn't become incomplete, I guess. I don't really understand that, but I misunderstand.
I think what he's saying is he just wants to fill his starting roster with as many top guys as possible before he starts going for depth. Whereas I was drafting like offensive depth earlier than starting defense, just because there was too much good talent available. I couldn't pass on it.
Oh yeah. I kind of go for that.
I think that's kind of where his head is trying to get to.
Got it.
Am I right on that, Tony?
Well, even if you're not, we can talk on that point really quick, because I'm kind of the same way as you on that, because I like to get that depth in case of injury and in case of trades. I like to have those trade pieces too, because other people are missing out on that talent, and I can make those trades to get those higher IDP talent, because people are going to need that higher offensive talent, especially later in the year when injuries begin taking place and stuff, and I've got depth and other people don't. There's a good advantage to having that offensive depth, because I also feel like people understand offensive players a lot more because they're not used to IDP. So they'll value those offensive players more than they value those IDP players. So you can pick up stronger IDP players in those trades because people are more willing to deal them because their value is misunderstood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, of course, everyone wants a top 5 QB and 2 elite wide receivers, and
I think that's everybody's
IDP. I think that's everyone's strategy, is to have the top guys in every. I mean, yes, but like those top 5 QBs, same thing. Like, again, right as you took Dak Prescott, I was going to take back Dak Prescott there, but I was one of those, like, if I don't get those top 4 in my eyes, what are the top 4 quarterbacks? Then I switched my plan. And when Dak Prescott was falling to me there, I was like, okay, I'm going to take Dak Prescott here. You took him the pick before me, got a little snipe there, and I had to switch my strategy all of a sudden. So, it was my strategy to have that top quarterback, and didn't get it. But I got Trey Lance, so young, good talent in there. But I mean, you were able to do it. I think that's lucky to always be able to follow your plan. If that's your plan, that's always great, but it's rare.
Yeah, my plan was trade up as much as possible, and I followed that to a T. So
trade your entire future away.
Trade everything to move up this year. I worked it.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like I was saying a minute ago, like, everybody's strategy is different. That includes draft strategy. And it's fun to see how different people draft and to see how it all kind of turns out in the end and everything. Because I traded up a ton. Corey traded up a ton. Our teams look good, but there's other teams that look really good that didn't trade up as much.
In fact, they traded back.
Yeah, some traded back. Some just traded sporadically.
Some didn't trade hardly at all.
It's still a very evenly keeled league. Like, everybody's roster still looks fairly even.
Yeah, because
even though there were so many different strategies.
Yeah, because like Sean didn't make any moves early. He just stayed where he was at, and then late started trading stuff away to me and Kyle and stuff. And ended up collecting a bunch of picks for next year. So he got a good team. Plus, he's set for the future pretty good. So
Yeah, and I think if anybody was the luckiest one of the draft, I think it was Sean,
yeah,
because just guys, it started with Cook falling to 9, and just he nailed every pick from there. It's like,
yeah,
what?
totally.
Tony, I wing it every draft, man. Most of the time, I go in.
Yeah.
The only most of the time, I just try to decide based on where my draft position is, whether or not I'm going to draft a tight end in the first 2 rounds. That's literally the only decision I make going into a draft. Everything else is just top running back or receiver available.
Yeah, my prep for a draft is how am I trading in that draft to get higher picks. That's pretty much
Yeah, but not every draft
it.
has that. So, like in my
Right.
work league,
But
you
most
know,
yeah.
like in a full redraft, like my work league, you go in like if I pick 1, I'm taking McCaffrey. If I pick 2 through 6, I'm probably either going to take Cook or a receiver. I don't feel that as strongly about Barkley and Kamara and Taylor as I do some of these receivers like Hill and hell, maybe AJ now and stuff like that. If I'm 7 through 10, I'm probably looking at Kelsey, or a top running back if he falls, and then grab Kittle on the turn. You know what I mean? So that's really my starting strategy in the first couple rounds. And then, yeah, you've got general guys in mind that you want to target in the late rounds. And that's how me and you ended up with a lot of the same guys across a lot of these dynasty leagues, is guys we knew were going to be there late that we like and we tend to do. But I wouldn't say it's necessarily a targeting strategy. It just kind of falls into place. I mean, I guess you could call it a strategy, though.
Well, I would say their strategy, like Derry, for instance, knew he wasn't going to pick for 3 rounds and tried to start a defensive run. Like there are strategies per se to try to
Yeah.
control guys falling to you. Because I know we talked about that in a previous one. So there are strategies like that. I think that taking a tight end is very, very early like that. The top tight end not only strategically helps us from week to week, but it also forces people to take Pitts early in the draft because you get that little bit of a struggle there, or so like maybe it forces other people to take players that they don't want. So it throws people's strategies off. Oh, I'm starting to lag, aren't I? Dang,
A
just a
little
bit.
bit, yeah.
I thought we were going to get through this, man.
We did so good.
I'm going to switch this and test something here. Let's see.
Oh, Tony's got some high stakes leagues, huh?
Man, why is it not working?
We have some small money leagues, but we mostly
I have a big money league.
We play for trophies and pride more than anything.
Where did my video go? Come on now. That's wild. I can't switch. I was going to switch to, oh, there we go. Let's see if that works. Okay. I switched from 1080 to 720.
It looks like you're caught back up now. You're not lagging anymore. So
yeah, I switched down to a lower quality. See if that helps a little bit. Yeah, no, my big money league is my work league. It's $150 to buy in, and so the winner gets $1,000 at the end. So that was a nice. I joined that for the first time last year and won it. Luckily, they're going to let me come back and play. So,
yeah, I agree with you, Tony. Dynasty with IDP is a great combo. It creates so much more opportunities for trading, and if you have some guys get hurt, there's enough players on your roster you can kind of help cover for those stuff like that. Like I like the extra strategy involved with that, and it does change the draft significantly.
I like having a wide range of types of leagues. Like I love having that wide range. Like we have the 2 keeper. Now we're getting a 3 keeper going with minor IDP. We have even all 3 of our dynasty leagues were different. We have a 10 person, a 12 person, and a 16 person. Like, so those strategies are all very different with different amounts of bench spots. Some have IDP, some don't. Some are just straight redraft. We have an 8-team league. I love having all these different kind of leagues because they're all a different strategy. And the variety makes it a lot of fun. I have a standard scoring. I have Well, for now I have a half PPR and the rest are all PPR, I guess. But I like having that one standard scoring league. I like having the half PPR league. I like these different strategies. In fact, those different scorings are the only reason I was able to do what I did last year with my 4 championships, because almost every league had a different scoring, a way of scoring. So it made it to where I could actually pull off certain weeks, like everything just fell into place. So I like having that variety. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. Different strategies.
The only thing I'm not in that I'd like to be in is I'd like to try and we've talked about this, but the auction league.
Yeah,
I've literally never done an auction league, an auction draft, nothing. Yeah. So I think that would be fun to try. I've had some friends over the years tell me it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I'd like to try one of those this year. We'll have to find some more people to fill that.
Not into the best ball. Don't want to try the best ball. That sounds really boring to me.
No, best ball. We talked about it briefly on here about doing one, but I did a little research, and yeah, it looks super boring. No trades, no waivers. You draft, and it sits there all year, and you go back at the end and see how you did. Like, we're not doing that. I'm not into that.
No.
What's Tony say here?
Tony's explaining, like, this is why he doesn't have enough time in his life to do this. He dedicates way too much time to fantasy football when he plays, and it just becomes overwhelming for him, I feel.
Yeah, I agree. Auction sounds like a lot of fun to do live. Yeah. I feel like they take a little longer, probably, but I think it would be fun.
Maybe.
It also depends on how vindictive your league mates are, driving prices up on stuff and sticking you with it too. So
yeah, I think it'd be a lot of fun.
I think it would be fun.
So I would like to try that out. Yeah, the best ball sounds really boring. Not into that. With no trading, not even have to set a lineup every week. Yeah. I'll just do mock drafts and get the exact same effect from it.
I think we could probably count Tony in for our auction league.
Yeah.
I think James is interested in it too. Maybe
does Tony have enough time? I don't know if he can analyze in multiple leagues in the same year. So, anyways, Kyle, let's wrap this sucker up, man.
It's all love, Tony. You're my boy, Blue.
Absolutely. Yeah, now that I've seen Tony and talked to Tony, met Tony on here now,
dude.
Now I'm going to give Tony a lot of crap.
We've been
now
giving
I feel like I know him good enough to.
Me and Tony have been giving each other crap for 10 years, so.
Yeah. Yeah, it's man, we'll see if he sticks around when he's not winning this league. You know, we'll see.
Yeah, he'll go back to seminary school again or something, probably.
No, he's just got to go back to studying. He'll go back to studying and come back with a new strategy.
He'll get beat by us.
Dozier boys.
Should have never taught them by us a bunch more times. He'll go back and try to pray us away, and it won't work. And he'll end up in another league. He'll be back in another league with us later on.
Tony, thanks for hopping on, man. Love you, buddy. Derry, you too.
Glad you got on the chat.
Hopping on here, guys.
This was fun.
And I guess we'll sign off with that.
Yep. We'll talk to y'all later, guys. Thanks.
See ya. Bye.